Okay, we'll keep moving along very quickly now. Going up next to the podium is BC Ogunwale. He's responsible for impact investing and financial management at the Essential Infrastructure Corporation, which happens to be an investment management company with interest in agriculture, renewable energy, transportation, and much more. Please, a round of applause for BC.
Good afternoon, everybody. So I'll start by asking this question. How many of us here know who the Minister of Education is? So you can see where the problem really is. So who is the Minister of State for Education? Again, we do not know. So if you don't know them, at least you should know the work that they are doing. Can you remember anything that the Ministry of Education has done recently since this administration came into power that is of note? That is where the real problem is. The Ministry of Education is not working. They're just doing nothing. I'm not going to talk too much. I'm just going to read out statistics of what is going on in this country and our neighboring countries to you. So, for example, we rate 152 out of 188 HDI index for the world. We are one of the lowest in the world. We compare with countries like Burundi, Sudan, and the rest of them. And then we keep shouting, giant of Africa. Giant ko, Towani. So if you ask yourself again, Nigeria ranks tops when you come to look at the number of children out of school. 10.7 million people are out of school in this country. And then you ask yourself this question, what does the future hold for this nation? If 10.7 million children can be out of school, and then you say the youth are the future of, so you can already know what the future of this country is going to be like. 1.5 million people write JAMB every year. The carrying capacity of every university that we have or tertiary institution that we have in this country is about 30% of that. And Nigerian government, we collect money from every of these candidates that is writing the exam as JAMB fees. And then we will be celebrating that JAMB returned money to the federal government, when the government is supposed to be ashamed that it cannot meet the responsibility of providing the carrying capacity for the student that is going to enter the school. The United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, says that for a country to be thinking about bettering the educational system of that particular country, 26% of your budget must be dedicated to education. I'll tell you what Nigeria has dedicated to education in the last couple of years. So in 2016, we did 8%. In 2017, we did 7.4%. In 2018, we say we want to do 7.04%. As far back as 1945, it has been agreed that the world average for us to be able to move education to the level we want it to be would have been 26%. Even in year 2003, when we had the highest in terms of budgetary allocation to education, which was 11.48%, we still did not meet world average at that point in time at 14%. Let me tell you what our neighbors in sub-Saharan Africa do. So there's a country very close to Badagry that is called Benin Republic, right? Benin Republic in 2015 dedicated 22.3% of its budget to education. There's a country called Burkina Faso, 19.3%. Kenya, 17.08%. And then you have Malawi, 16.3%. In 2015, Benin Republic, even though they moved down a bit, still dedicated 17.4% of their budgetary allocation to education. So you can now see the reason why so many people will go out of this place to go and study in Benin Republic, right? You have Nigerians who will go to other, just cross Benin border and then buy land and then set up school there and be expecting Nigerians to come to the other side of the border to study there. Why? They want to earn FX from those schools. At a point, central bank says that 15% of the allocation that was given to banks in terms of forex was going to paying school fees abroad. Did you hear what I said? 15% of forex allocation to banks was going to paying school fees abroad. These forex were meant to be used for trade transactions that real sector in the economy will use to buy raw materials from wherever and then run their factories with. But don't worry, that's what you people are doing in this part of the country. Now, if you now look at all the states, the entire states in this country, what they've been dedicating to education in terms of budgetary allocation, I found one figure and I'm going to read it out to you. For example, in 2017, 33 states, 33 minus 3 out of the 36, dedicated only 10%, 10.73 of their entire budget to developing education in the entire of the country. You can see why you are where you are. Anyway, let's move forward. Even when we talk about infrastructure development in schools, we would expect that, the mega amount that is dedicated to education will go into investing in infrastructure for the schools that we say, they are not good enough. But guess what? Let's tell ourselves another statistics. In 2015, right, 4.87% of the total budget of education in the Federal Republic of Nigeria was capital allocation in that particular budget. Tell me what you are going to do with 4.85% of your budget as allocation. I'm going to close very soon, but I need to say this so that you all hear it. In the entire of this country, we have 35 federal universities. We have 21 federal polytechnics, and then 22 federal colleges of education. And we have 104 federal unity schools, that's federal government colleges. So in this country, we said we will give capital allocation to tertiary institutions to the tune of 9.18 billion. But what we dedicated to those secondary schools was 14.12 billion. Now, let's look at one indices that worries me a lot. If you look at how you compare overheads and personnel votes in the budget, how can you explain that university with personnel expenditure of 242.83 billion got an overhead vote of 4.4 billion, whereas the federal government colleges that are called Unity School with personnel vote of 19.9 billion, that's like 10% of the entire sum for the university, got an overhead of about 15 billion in their vote. I'm asking myself this question. There's a problem that we as a people in this country have not realized. And if you do a poll of what people consider the dividend of democracy, I can bet you the first three answers will not be anything around education. I have done this in the last couple of weeks, and I have spoken to at least maybe 22 different persons. The first thing you hear is road, power, and then maybe water. Maybe education will come forth or fit. That has also been buttressed by the recent survey that the Kaduna State government did. Education came forth, and then health came fit. I don't know how you want to sustain an economy that you are running when people don't even have, the knowledge of how to run a knowledge-based economy. We are in a world where the entire world has shifted away from where we are, and we're still looking like, we're doing okay, we're very well, don't worry, we're still the giant of Africa. Anyway, what can we do about this? Okay, before I go to that, another issue that nobody is talking about is the curriculum that is being used in teaching in schools. We must be crazy set of people in this country to think that we will continue to learn in the way we learn and then we will get better results from what we are learning. It will never happen. Everybody is looking for work, but the people who have work to give are also looking for people to employ. you don't have the skills to get you employed because you are not trained by people who are better trained. Our teachers don't understand what it means to teach the people that they've been employed to teach. And then lastly, before I close, please, politicians, let us stop using teaching job as compensation for the people that help you to win election. It's not good. Thank you.